Last month she was so quick to respond to your messages. She was so keen. She would reply swiftly. She initiated some of the conversations. If she couldn't make a particular date, she would suggest another time. But now, all of a sudden, she seems like she's drifting away, like a gust of wind that just comes by and goes across you. And it feels really agonizing, actually, when that starts to happen. When a girl goes cold on you and you're wondering, what the hell have I done? I've done nothing wrong in this situation. Now, these sort of situations really cut you at the core, and this has happened to me countless times with really beautiful women, where everything was just going so well at the beginning. It was like a breath of fresh air in her life. And then all of a sudden, she gets cold on me, and I'm getting less responsive messages. Her messages are being much more delayed, hours, sometimes days. And then she's just no longer initiating those kind of conversations. Now that stuff is really painful, especially if you like someone. And you're probably sitting there wondering, what happened? And you also really want to ask them, hey, what happened? Why are we not talking anymore? And it might be really tempting to ask a woman that, but you'll very rarely get the actual answer as to why she's drifting away from you. So let me give you the top reasons here as to why she walked away and how you can potentially improve that. So the first reason is that she was actually never really fully invested to begin with, bro. Okay, so you should have known the signs from the very early stages. Was she quite quick to respond? Did she meet up with, was she easy to go out on a date with? Or was she making your life very difficult from the offset? Some women just feel pressured to just be with a man and not be alone. And that's why at the beginning she probably just played her cards and just went along for the ride. And some women will kind of date men out of fear of loneliness and not real deep love. Okay? And you need to make sure that you are not one of those guys that she's just meeting up with just to pass some time or to get a free dinner or get some free drinks. So these are the signs that she wasn't fully invested in the first place. She wasn't excited to hang out from the very beginning. Her text messages were extremely dry. I keep mentioning that for a reason, because if you get fast responses, then it means she's actually keen to meet up with you, and she's keen and she has some sort of interest in you. You were always trying to initiate plans, and she never initiated plans herself, even though she was busy. Or you were just a convenient, lukewarm option to her. I'd only go after women who show a kind of wild enthusiasm to meet you. Otherwise, it's you constantly chasing. And if it's you constantly chasing, then she's likely to slip out of your arms and fly past you just like that gust of wind. The second thing is, you didn't have jack shit going on in your life apart from her. Now, this is a very horrid situation for a woman to be involved in. If she thinks that she's the only thing good about your life at the moment, she's going to get put off by that. Because women don't want to be your top priority. They certainly want to know that you've got other stuff happening in your life and that she's just an extra added bonus on top of all the amazing things that you've got going on in your life. She probably finally realized that she is your sole attention, and that is a massive red flag. Also, you might not have a good enough social circle, you're not really a man on a mission, you always made her the number one priority, and you never said no to hanging out, or you never tried to adjust plans because you were busy. When you adjust plans because you're busy, she'll be like, oh, he's got business. He's got stuff going on. Is he seeing other women? And she really tries to slide her way into your life when she realizes that you're a busy man with a great social life and a man on a mission. That's one of the most important parts. The third reason is that you became quite needy and you were double texting quite often. You were asking her why she hasn't texted you back. You were asking how she felt on the date and why it didn't go as well as the first date. That's needy behavior. It's best to have a natural flow with a woman so that you go on the first 2, 3, 4 dates and it just flows easily and you're not having to force yourself or really overly impress her. Overly impressing her is just another way of being needy, and women hate desperate men who are needy. The fourth reason is that unfortunately, just became too predictable. Okay, so having a routine sometimes can be good, but in relationships, you want to have a level of unpredictability. Women don't like a predictable, boring life. Okay, Men are easier with logical, boring steps. Like, hey, see you at 7 p.m. We're going here at 10 p.m. We're getting dinner at 11 p.m. We're going to the club at 1 a.m. We'll be back at 5 a.m. And then we're up at breakfast for 8 a.m. A guy is more logical in his way of thinking, but a woman will more go with how she actually feels in the moment. So an air of unpredictability and spontaneity is always going to serve a woman better, rather than being quite boring, being quite predictable. That's just going to put her off. It's just not as exciting, unfortunately. So here are ways to potentially keep her on her toes. You should initiate sex at different times, and you should actually, and this is going to sound interesting, but you should actually turn down sex at certain times. If you're too tired, you've got an early morning, just be like, babe, I've got a really long day tomorrow and I don't want to be put off my focus, so I'm going to get some sleep. That will utterly confuse her. And you know what? At times when you utterly confuse a woman, she really starts wondering about you and wondering, why is he not interested in having sex with me? That seems to lure her in more than it pushes her away. You should experiment with different hobbies together. You should try and do fun things together, whether it be hiking or riding a bike or going for a long walk or going to a museum. Do different fun things together. Keep it spicy, keep it exciting. Don't just have the same date all the time where you go for drinks at the same bar. That's boring. Women don't want to live a boring life. You should also try and plan last-minute date nights in different exciting places. Spontaneity is usually last-minute stuff. You walk in the door, you're like, or you give her a buzz, you're like, babe, I've got a great plan for this evening. Put on your best dress. We're going somewhere really sexy. And she'll be like, oh, where are we going? Where are we going? Don't tell her, but just plan a really cool like salsa dance class or a salsa lesson where everyone's very sexy and cool and it's a really good vibe, and you get her to put her best dress on and you take her to somewhere that is actually really good. Now be careful not to tell her to put her best dress on and then take her to a random street corner coffee shop. That will really piss her off and you may just lose her at that point. Try and surprise her with trips and getaways. Now I don't recommend this from the very early stages of a relationship, but if you've got a girlfriend and if you love each other, then you should come up with really interesting new getaways and plans and road trips. And those are really exciting. And that, again, keeps the relationship spicy. When you keep it variety and when you throw in a bunch of different activities, it keeps her engaged and she's excited and she feels like you're always spontaneous and unpredictable. And women really love that. Now, the other thing is that you got quite lazy. Okay, so you'll lose her because you got lazy in the relationship. Letting yourself go physically and losing ambition is extremely unattractive, okay? If you want to maintain your woman, you need to stay in good shape and be attractive to other women. I say this all the time in my videos. Women will lose attraction when you stop being the man that they initially fell in love with or they were initially attracted to. If she met you and you were that guy with high levels of purpose, you were always on your work, you loved what you were doing, and all of a sudden now that she's in your life, you're now planning these trips and not working on your business, and your business is kind of falling to pieces and your mission and your purpose is not as important to you, believe it or not, she will start to lose interest in you because she doesn't want to be your number one priority. So, maintaining attraction is going to be crucial for the healthy relationship dynamics. So stay and be the most attractive man you could possibly be. You get those guys that stop working out because they've got a girlfriend and they're like, oh, they let themselves go physically. Don't be one of those guys. Those are the guys that lose their women. The sixth reason as to why she lost interest is, interestingly, that you lost interest first. Okay, so signs that you may have lost interest is that she actually stopped dressing up for you and stopped making an effort. If she realizes that you've lost a level of interest, you're not so keen on her, you don't give her so many compliments, then she'll stop dressing as sexy and stop pruning and making herself look pretty for you, because she'll be like, well, he doesn't really seem to care anymore. He doesn't seem to compliment you and tell me how beautiful and wonderful I am. She may have gained weight or stopped being active in the bedroom. Those are other signs that she sees that you've lost interest. There are times in the past where I refused sex on numerous occasions with a girl, and she was like, all right, fine then. If he's turning me down, then I'm going to start turning him down. And when I was keen, she would be like, nah, I'm not in the mood. I was like, oh shit, massive role reversal. So a woman will be able to tell when you've lost interest, and she'll start pulling away and acting upon that by not being as exciting in the bedroom, not really just dressing up as much. And ultimately, if she realizes that you were never that attracted to her and it was just out of like loneliness, then that will really worry her. A woman wants to be with a man that really wants to be with her, not with a man that was with her because he was just feeling kind of lonely. Okay? Women will often withdraw from a relationship when they sense that their partner is losing interest, as it actually protects them from the relationship struggles. If a man is losing interest in her, she also has to pull herself back and defend herself and start looking at her pipeline of other men that are interested in her. And believe me, every woman has a pipeline of men that are interested in her and that are usually circling and like vultures around her, for as soon as she steps away from her current guy, there are plenty and a plethora of other options ready and available for her. So the importance of ending the relationship if you've actually lost attraction. Otherwise, you'll find yourself in a position where you're chasing someone you don't really want, you're chasing a dead end, and you're just in a relationship that shouldn't really be working and that should have ended a long time ago. So I hope those reasons have made sense to you. And sort of in conclusion, I want you to go and watch the next video here that I'm going to post, because if you have a mission as a man and if you show your true purpose, then a woman is much more likely to want to be with you. So go watch that video on why you should maintain your purpose and mission as a man and why that is absolutely super attractive.